This is LK, BRUYx42, 80 Networks, Airline, Virgin Airlines, Southwest Airlines. Is there a correlation? I think so. This is Pink Shorts, Viago, VCR, Viago, VCR, Viago, VCR, Viago. Pink Shorts is filmed in front of a live democracy republic. Both exposed and approve. It rained when we paid our ticket and got the ticket. Curry, thank you for writing MREV, the new safety video. This is Auditorium Station, Auditory Nerve. Auditorium Station is beside iPhone. We just got a right leg shock. This is Pink Shorts, the use us of our land and communicating with your patents via my client's medulla, my client's motor cortex, my primary motor cortex, my primary visual, my primary auditory, my arcuate fasciculus, my hippocampus, my vertical, my BRCA, my angular gyrus, or any part of the left or right hemisphere of the brain, V6 or V8 engine, is in agreement with identical evidence and discretion of all content obtained will be used for the all television network and Merriweather businesses, including MerriweatherLaw. Contact us at 594-1443. Pay your Geico bill, telephone pay, the IVR, Missioner H, 1-800-932-8872. We can't say the rest, since I didn't say. Thank you, Geico. Two-party consent law makes it a crime to eavesdrop, record on any confidential communication, including a private conversation, telephone call, Google Hang-ins, Google Hangouts, anything that hangs from trees. This is a news program. Without the consent of all parties to the conversation, violation of Penal Code 632, statutes and limitations don't apply. We'll explain that in the next hour. Intrusion claims in California in the last 2 years. Code section 335.1, January 18th, 3:34 a.m., June 19th, 10 p.m. Patented shows. Recognize intrusion upon seclusion. A patent is required for all bribes. Howell versus New York Post Code. This is a live email you have received. Intrusion is a special form of invasion of privacy, intentionally intrudes physically the solitude, seclusion of another. Ooh-hoo. In most states, intrusion on seclusion, the plaintiff must establish 4 elements. First, defendant without authorization to the plaintiff. Check. Second, offensive to a reasonable person or babysitting business. Check. Third, a private matter. Check. Fourth and finally, cause mental anguish, head tightening, tooth tightening, aneurysm, blood clots, stroke, etc. The pain and suffering to the plaintiff. Please reference mass tort claims working for the government as a third party. Don't complain as a plaintiff in court, pro se, or with attorney. Mass tort claims, intrusion upon seclusion. That refers to, we just looked it up here. Passe Comitatus Act says a federal statute prohibiting the use of military and civilian law enforcement. 18 U.S.C. Code 1385, Capital 1, the use of Army and Air Force as passe comitatus. They're recruiting you in the Army, you don't even know it. Yada, 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 yada. I wonder who was causing that accident. PCA. Passe Communist Act. Where I do know the ethnicity of the person. And you pretty much get it. It is. We're downgrading our own communities. Let's get to our show. Due to time constraints, we are expediting the intro of this show. We do have the White House on standby. Passe Communist Act. It's a compact. Are we disenfranchising ourselves? No, we can't say that here on Pink Shorts. The word franchise is not a word we say on this show. This is anonymous. That's totally a word we say. We're disenfranchising. We're bailing out the community. We have Josh Ernst on standby.
For helping. Well, yeah, I can't speak to all those conversations. I think what I would go back to is, I guess, what somebody raised
Capital
earlier,
One.
which is that the President's National Security Team has
That's correct.
acknowledged
Talk
that
about
we
his
should
Capital
consider
One card.
the benefits
1385.
and propriety of
What's the ethnicity?
essentially labeling our electoral system in this country as part of critical infrastructure.
What's the ethnicity of the boom, boom, boom?
That can be provided by the federal government. So that's something that is being actively considered by the President's National Security Team.
What's the ethnicity?
If there's an announcement about that, it would come from
Past Communist Act.
We are blessedly past the conventions.
I
which
can
also means that
imagine.
now it's time for transition work. I was hoping you
Green
could lay out
boy.
a little bit about the degree of cooperation.
That's
that
correct.
this
It's a
White
green
House,
boy.
is engaging with the Clinton and Trump camps.
Well, Olivier, at the end of last week, the White House Chief of Staff Dennis McDonough placed telephone calls to designated officials in both campaigns to make them aware of the variety of resources that can be used to benefit their transition planning activities. The president made clear at the beginning of this year
It's not coffee.
that one of his goals for the year, one of his top goals for this year, was to ensure a smooth transition from the Obama administration to the next president. And President Obama has talked before about how this administration benefited significantly from the effective planning of President George W. Bush's White House. And even though that transition took place across party lines, the effective coordination
means the power or force of the country.
The incoming president and the American people more generally.
Hussein.
The president aspires
Hussein.
to meet, if not exceed,
The
that very
power
high
or
standard
force
that was
of
set
the country.
by the Bush White House. So I do know that there is office space that the GSA has made available to the campaign's respective transition teams. The much discussed process of ensuring that the officials, that the candidates themselves receive an intel briefing from the Director of National Intelligence. That process
the power or force of the country.
The candidates. They have to schedule the timing of that briefing. And there also will be an opportunity for officials from the respective campaigns to now be a part firsthand of more official discussions about the transition planning process that will include a wide variety of government officials. So we can get you some more details on those kinds of meetings, but this process has been initiated by the president because the president has made it a priority to ensure a smooth transition to the next president.
You've got a big theory.
Finding that Trump is
saving money is a double manufactured coupon.
On transition, intelligence briefings, any other kind of preparations for the possibility that he might win in November?
Claims have been paid.
The fact is, this administration is committed to working both effectively with the Democratic nominee and the Republican nominee to ensure that once the American people have made a decision about who should lead our country,
they've paid the claims to me, $500 billion.
Take place smoothly. Okay, Ron.
Well, that was my question. How can there be a smooth transition if the president thinks that Donald Trump is on?
Hello, accident day.
How can you? There must be some overcompensation that has to happen in this transition.
LK Bride X41.
How can there be a smooth transition?
Arts and Entertainment.
Well, I think what we're planning for right now, Ron, is
featuring Southwest Airlines,
and that's the responsible step that you would expect.
Hello, A&E Networks Airlines. We had an accident today.
Process across party lines in the same way that his predecessor did.
Boom, 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 boom.
That's you understand the logic of this. If you think that the other party can't do this job, then how can you possibly work with them to transition into something that you don't think you can do?
Well, right now, Ron, we're not planning to transition with them. We are planning for a transition, and we are incorporating both campaigns into that process. The kind of question that you're asking is a legitimate one, but I think is one that probably is more relevant once the American people have decided
forfeit the country.
You kept referring to
a responsible party.
How much money has Iran received in sanctions relief?
I'm not aware of the latest assessment that has been made about this. What I do know is that there have been predictions prior to the commencement of the deal from critics who suggested that Iran could get hundreds of billions of dollars.
Only America.
That's false. they were
can handle the truth.
and
Zoning
were they just
America,
uninformed or lying?
me.
You'd have to ask them.
That's
So,
right,
Again, you were
the
giving a
guy
fairly,
You know, forfeit the
you were giving an
country.
accounting that
We'll
seemed
make
based
sure
on
the
something
public
that X went to debt
gets
relief
taken
and
care of.
infrastructure and so on and so forth.
They
So
can't handle
how
the
much
truth.
went
They
to-
can't handle it.
How much didn't go to terrorism and how much did go to terrorism? If you have this accounting.
They're acting for $30
you're
a day.
confident that you know that
Lord knows
money
what else they'll do.
primarily went to debt relief and infrastructure and so on and so forth.
Again, I was actually sending the comments
Walmart
of
gift
the director
cards.
of the CIA. So you can certainly check with the
Those
intelligence community
Walmart
or
gift
Treasury Department
cards.
for
Good
specific-
Lord.
So
What else will they
you don't
do?
know how
Well,
much they've gotten in sanctions relief or really where it's gone.
I think, Ron, the point
Extra
is
bananas
right
and
now
milk.
that we do know how Iran has spent
And
a lot of that
oatmeal.
money. And the amount of money that Iran has received
Pasta
is far
comidas.
less than what critics predicted. So they were either wrong or lying. You can go ask them. What we do know
Hello,
is that
Barack
Iran was
Hussein.
quite concerned about the state of their economy. That was the whole strategy that we put in place from the start.
Thank you
We
for
recognized
recruiting
that
the
international
public
community
as the
was fractured over
military.
how to deal and confront Iran and their
Now
growing
how can
nuclear
they comply?
aspirations. So the United States demonstrated some
can't.
leadership. President Obama, Secretary Clinton, and other people had to
They're
represent
in the
United
army. They
States,
don't know
get
it.
the international community to agree
It comes
to
to me
apply
from
significant
Virgin.
pressure to Iran and their economy.
Hello,
The
Virgin. How
strategy
are
worked.
you?
Iran's economy struggled. The value of their currency plummeted. They went into a recession because we were able to coordinate with the rest of the international community to apply this pressure.
I'm a
So Iran
phone,
was
an
desperate for
airline,
sanctions
commercial
relief so
air.
they could address this economic weakness in their country, and we know that they use this
ZONING
money to invest in
ACL.
infrastructure,
I'm
to try to pay
medicine.
off their
I'm
economic debts that they
named
have,
after
and to try to
everything.
shore up the value of their plummeting currency.
When will my bank account reflect that?
Money that Iran has spent to finance
That
terrorism.
I'm an inspiration.
Post-Iranian, post-nuclear deal.
Pre-Iranian nuclear deal, the president made clear that we continue
When
to
will
be
my bank
concerned
account
about Iran's
reflect that?
nefarious activities in the region. That's why the United States has deepened our coordination with our allies and partners in the Middle East to counter Iran's destabilizing activities. We've beefed up and strengthened our interdiction efforts to prevent Iran from being able to expand on their ballistic missile program. We've sought to deepen our cooperation even further with
Hello,
Israel because we
Traffic.
know
How are
how
you?
Iran seeks to menace our closest ally in the Middle East. So we've acknowledged on the front end that we continue to be concerned.
Today's
with
show is
Iran's
sponsored by
nefarious
Seminole
activities. The other
LP
thing that was
and
pointed out to me
Zonalin.
today, and
We
I've
built
actually
it.
forgotten this, the day
And
after
we're
or 2
wrong.
days after this agreement was announced that weekend in January,
Zonalin
the
ACL.
United States announced additional sanctions against Iran because of their ballistic missile program.
Genovia
We've been
HCL.
serious from the beginning about making sure that we are taking appropriate steps
This is
to
Anonymous,
counter Iran's various nefarious
and
activities.
The $400 million that was the tribunal settlement.
we need to know what our bank account is going to reflect.
That's correct.
All of
Where's
this
the other
inspiration.
1.3 billion
Really,
now?
we need to know that.
1.3 billion is what was essentially what was subject to negotiation in terms of
$500.1
how much
billion.
interest,
We need to know.
this money. So that is why I make the case to you and other senior administration
It's a
officials have been
baby
saying,
boom. Boom, boom, boom,
including
boom,
back in
boom.
January, that the American people saved potentially billions of dollars because of this smart deal. that
Because
was
we
reached.
recruited the public
Billion or something, as I recall,
in the army.
that the United States
secretly.
could have been liable for. But the question is, where
We got that. But when is our bank account going to
less
reflect
than
that
400
we
billion
won?
that's already gone? Has the rest of it already gone to Iran as well?
Oh, you have to check with the Treasury Department in terms of whether or not that other payment has been made.
But that's significant, isn't it? Why
Well,
can't
I- I
the
That is
administration be
your
more transparent
res-
about- and this is the concern raised by the.
That is your duty
reporting
to
about the ballots,
send
the
those
cash.
funds. It's your
So-
duty.
Again,
Why-
I don't know how much more transparent the President of the United States can be than to call all of you into the Roosevelt Room, I believe it was, on live national television and announce the fact that we have reached an agreement with Iran. I don't know how much more transparent we can be than to have the Secretary of State of the United States on January 17th
We need the
issue a
young people
standalone written
to be.
statement that's headlined Hague
The
Claims
young people
Tribunal
need to send
Settlement.
the money.
It's 7 paragraphs long and it explains
Iran
exactly the deal that
needs
was
to
reached.
send it.
So we've been quite forward-leaning in terms of explaining to the American people how they benefited from this agreement.
So has Iran received the rest of this more than $1 billion or not?
What you need to check with the Treasury Department in terms of how these transactions are conducted. What I can tell you, Ron, is that when the United States makes an agreement and we make a commitment to make a payment, we're good to our word.
The other thing, Iran Ron, how many American citizens are now in Iranian custody post-Iran nuclear deal?
Yeah, but we
Because
can't drink beer every day and talk to
reporting and
strangers every
suggestion
day
from the Iranian media based some of
at the same time.
is that this is
It's an
happening
IMF
because a ransom was
currency.
paid, because there was this coincidence.
We can't be tested every day.
To be clear, I never called it a coincidence.
Ridiculous.
We confirmed that before.
Yeah. The question is how many, there are other Americans who
The
are now
people need to
being
know.
held prisoner by Iran.
This is a
What is the
social
administration
experiment.
thinking about that? And do you see a connection to the Iran deal?
Well,
They need to feel
there are a couple of
disenfranchised.
things here. The first is that I'm not in a position to talk publicly about the
So we
cases
can go
of individual
home.
Americans if they've not signed a privacy waiver. So we protect the privacy rights of American citizens
It
around
is.
the world. So I'm quite limited
you're
in what
right,
I can say
Naemis.
about this.
You know,
What's
it's,
also true is that in discussing the cases
Look at
of
us, we're the
Americans who are unjustly
CEO.
detained or being held hostage,
If I'm
we have often
Verizon,
found that it's
what
not
else is
helpful
going
to
on?
name them, to detail them, to identify them specifically.
That's
So
correct. He's
let me just say that we have
Verizon.
continuing, long-standing concerns.
Are you making us look
with,
like presidents?
Iran's treatment of American citizens in Iran.
Are you putting wool over our heads?
That is why
That is why.
an agreement, again, announced back in January
A double T
that
suit.
prevented Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, that reached a financial
A
settlement
double
to
T
save the
suit.
American people potentially billions
They're
of
making
dollars,
us look like presidents.
and secure the release of 5 Americans that had been unjustly detained in Iran, was hailed as such a
They're making us go-go.
positive, beneficial outcome for the United
A
States.
double
But
T
let me be
suit.
clear, the United States does not
The
pay
edit
ransoms.
of the
The
United
only person that's
States.
making that accusation, at least included in the Wall Street Journal story that we're talking about, is some Iranian official.
This is Northwood.
What Ryan's doing now.
They are now. So it sounds to me like they are once again in a position
We're
where they're
in a
making the same argument
position.
as
A double
hardliners in
T
Iran
suit.
in an effort to undermine the Iran nuclear agreement. The president made clear a year ago that right-wingers
I'm
in the United
Verizon.
States
What else would I
were
look
making
like?
common cause
That's
with
correct. Da-da-da-da-da.
right-wingers in the
BHJ. Da-da-da.
Iranian government. And
They get it.
again, if they're doing it again to try to
Verizon. Da-da-da-da.
justify
What
their
else?
opposition to an agreement that has benefited the
I'm
American
a double
people,
T suit.
they can do that, but I think that's going to be
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
pretty hard for them to explain. Maybe there's another letter from Senator Cotton to the Supreme Leader we don't know about.
The money
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
arrived the day that the Americans left.
Ralph
I
Bucky
can't confirm
Phillips.
the details of the
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
specific transaction.
Say anything
This
about the
da-da-da-da-da-da.
remaining balance of
Da-da-da-da-da.
this,
Ralph Bucky Phillips.
hundreds of millions of dollars that the United
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
States has agreed to pay.
I'm the president. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
What I can, I
Oh,
can't
da-da-da-da.
provide a specific
Then
update
go,
for you in terms of the
da-da-da-da.
transaction. I can tell you when the United States makes a commitment.
I'm a puppet.
We're good for our word, and we live up to the terms of the agreement we signed on.
I'm a puppet.
Margaret.
I think a lot of us reported on the transfer at the time.
Is he correct about being a puppet?
Taxpayers coming from the Treasury.
Operation of it. Explain yourself, please.
There are some in Congress, including BRUYx, who's written an exchange letters from the State Department asking for more granularity on that.
Avowed opponent of the Iran deal, continuing to try to justify his opposition to this
But
agreement.
as you
Ryan
had said,
Young,
these
how
are
about
actually two
you?
separate deals. This isn't about the nuclear accord. This isn't about the prisoners you're arguing. This is its own
Prostate
So
comatose.
put those two aside, and we just focus on this deal, specifically with the money transfer.
Mr. Palmer,
Really
how are
providing
you?
that detail to Congress, knowing that you can't tell us from the podium, as you just said.
Well, again, we'll continue to engage with
Apple
members of
without
Congress
the L.
about
What do
this.
you
I think
get?
what is true,
Oh, I know
and
it's
I
it's
think
your
would
ape.
certainly
You know, it's
account
your
for
monkey
the
that,
descriptions that were included in
you
the
know,
newspaper,
came to the U.S.
is that the
The
United
monkey
States does not
swam
have a
across
banking
the Atlantic
relationship with Iran.
Ocean and then started
And the reason for
hugging
that
people. You know, that
is
monkey
because of
started
this
hugging
administration's
people.
commitment
The
to
ape started
ensuring that
hugging
we continue to
people.
hold Iran
He
accountable
swam
for a
across the
variety of
Atlantic
activities that we
Ocean.
are deeply concerned about.
So that's logical in terms
Uh,
of not.
But that's not how it
disputing the
happened,
idea that there
okay?
had to be a cash payment since there weren't any banking accounts. and
There's
that
no way a monkey from
now that the banking
Africa
system's
or
a
an
little
ape
less clogged,
or Apple
you could find
did
other ways to
that.
pay.
It's
So maybe
impossible.
timing suggests once again it's around the same time. You understand
We have
that?
a privacy
I'm sure
shop
you
explaining
appreciate that
Apple
without the clarity on
without
this,
the L.
innuendo and the optics make it tough. So to truly kill that idea and the allegations being made of a ransom payment. So
Well, we get naked
why
at a
not
CDC
provide that
massage
detail
parlor.
of exactly how the money was received?
I actually don't think that there's a lot of rationality in the argument that you've outlined that is being made by hard right-wing officials in Iran and Republican critics of the deal.
Don't need to know how the 1.3 billion of their money was given.
No. I'm talking about as it relates to this suggestion that somehow this was a ransom payment. That this is somehow connected to other elements of the deal.
And
the
I
only
love
people who are
song.
making that suggestion
Our
are right-wingers in
experience. I
Iran
love
who
a
don't like the
song.
deal, and
And I
Republicans
love
in the
it.
United States who don't like the deal.
Very easy for you to kill that argument by saying this
We
is
love
exactly how
it.
it happened and why, not just trust us. There's nothing shady about a plane arriving in the middle of the night loaded with
What
cash.
don't you say?
You're saying it's innuendo, right? You're saying there's something that was
I'm
done that was not above
everything.
board.
I think
why
Margaret,
not? Love
the point I'm trying to make,
everything.
Margaret, is
I love
we
it,
could not
Steve.
possibly have been more transparent about this arrangement than to have the President of the United States announce it to all of you on live national television on the day that the agreement was reached.
The agreement
We
was
had a
reached in the
boom
intent
boom
to pay
accident
1.7
today.
billion, yes. But the details, like you're saying yourself, it's new detail in an old story.
Yeah.
I guess clarifying the detail is what would
I
help.
love it.
Why is that relevant? Why is that relevant? Particularly when we all know that there's no banking relationship between the United States and Iran. So again,
Transfer.
yeah, I understand. Again, I understand the political attacks that are being
We're
made by people who
backing
are trying
up.
to justify their opposition to our engagement with Iran.
Put the car
Because it
reverse.
is taxpayer money, so don't people have a right to have an answer to that question?
Again, that's why we announced it, as you point out, back in January.
But the details
It's
of
a
that.
Dodge
So-
Caravan,
What
though.
are the details?
From the trust fund to this bank. To
Go,
this
go,
bank.
bank.
It had to be in euros and francs because we don't have a
It's
banking
OJ.
relationship because it's complicated. So that
Caravan.
would be a really simple thing.
Does
that people would be
OG
able to
care?
follow.
So look, I guess
Does OG
none
care
of what
about
you have
us?
walked through changes the basic
That's
facts here.
OG.
We acknowledged, again, back
Do you
on January
care?
17th, that there would be all kinds of innuendo
That's OG care.
hurled by people who oppose engagement with Iran. Republicans in the United States who oppose engagement
OG,
with
do
Iran.
you care?
I recognize that the details that you're seeking to elicit might make for a colorful news story, but they don't change the facts. They don't actually change any sort
Colorful
of
news
innuendo
story.
that's going to be lobbed
Does
by
OG
critics of the
care
deal
about us?
our intent. They certainly are not going to effectively convince, again,
Why
a
have we
right-winger in
recruited the
Iran
public as
who
the
is seeking
military?
some kind of propaganda victory
Third party.
in the pages of the Wall Street Journal from basically making a false claim that this
They've
somehow is a ransom payment.
outsourced.
What I can tell you is that the
The
United States,
PCS
when we make an agreement, we
outsourcing.
live up to it. We announced the terms of this agreement back in January.
The
reason we announced
entrapping the
terms of the agreement,
outsource.
in part, is because we have a desire to be transparent with the American people. We also have a desire to advocate for the fact that
Bailout
because of the
of
smart agreement,
bankruptcy.
the American people potentially saved billions of dollars.
So use this
Teddy
completely
Ruxpin, how are you?
motivated.
Again, the facts of this
Teddy
case,
Banks,
the
right?
facts of this situation,
A Teddy
and the
Ruxpin
benefits of the
doll.
situation have been known for more than 6
Squeezable
months
hug
now. You all
about
have
Teddy
been reporting on it
Ruxpin.
for more than 6 months ago. Again, not because of some secret
The
anonymous
tail
leak in the
toy.
bowels of some government bureaucracy,
Teddy
but because the
Ruxpin.
United States of America
Teddy
announced it on live
Bankruptcy,
television
how
from the
are
White
you?
House.
I know, we've all been covering it.
Back
The
shower
thing that's new
red
is the detail that you're saying is irrelevant. And that's why it becomes.
Are you
Well, I
serious? I love
recognize
a
it's my
song.
job to
I
answer
love
the
a
question up here,
scene.
but I will acknowledge, I don't understand, other than for the fact that it makes for a colorful lead. I'll concede that, but it doesn't change the facts of the
G.I.
situation. It
Joe.
doesn't change anybody's assessment about the motive of the
Posse
United
committed.
States, whether or not this was wired from one
Hello,
particular
Misa
U.S.
and
government account to
Milta.
some
Joe
Iranian
Escalera.
government account, as opposed to delivered on pallets.
Alias.
That's not going to change the argument of Paul Ryan and Marco Rubio that they're opposed to the deal. It's not
The
going to change the
variation.
propaganda efforts of the.
It's Misa
well,
and
again,
Joe
they're
Escalera.
opposed because they are.
You're saying you're not linked.
At the
Because they are.
variation
That's my. I'm saying the argument that
of
they're making
Iran
that is
deal.
false, that has been proven wrong time and time again, is not going to change based on
Iran deal.
whether this was wired or delivered in paper currency.
Ohio.
So I understand the interest in details
Foreign
for
exchange
a more
student.
colorful story,
Hello.
but I don't understand what this does to the broader
Hello,
outlines of
foreign
the argument
exchange
that have been in
student.
place for 6 months now.
Joe
Republicans have lost that
Escalera.
argument.
Milta.
Critics of the deal have lost this argument because we have succeeded in preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear
Kenya
weapon. We
president.
did
Hello.
succeed
How are
in securing
you?
the release of 5 Americans who are unjustly detained overseas in Iran, and we did
What
succeed
color
in
is
saving
that?
American taxpayers potentially billions of dollars by reaching a long-standing financial settlement
The Greek
with the Iranians over their money.
You're just arguing that it's all worth it, basically. That
it's all. I think again.
The details don't matter.
Have we confirmed $500 billion?
I've not been quoted saying that, and I wouldn't be quoted saying that. I think what I'm saying is, it doesn't change the contours of the argument.
Mr. Ernst.
The argument that is being made by Republicans is they're struggling to justify their opposition to our engagement with Iran. They've lumped it all together.
This is MerriweatherA.Law.
We've made clear time and time again that we capitalize on this opening with Iran to try to settle this variety of claims.
We have a Delaware card.
And
of
there is no disputing, despite the best efforts of right-wingers in Iran and right-wingers in the United States, that we have prevented Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
USC 181385.
We did secure the release of 5 Americans.
A black president.
And we have settled a long-standing financial claim in a way that benefits the American people, potentially saving billions of dollars.
And Marie Hernandez.
Nothing like this will happen to secure the release of
NFL.
the 4 Americans or U.S. residents who some of their families have said are being held in Iran, and the Iranians have said they're being held. I know you can't talk to their specific cases.
Well, what I will say is that the United States, under President Obama, has not paid a ransom to secure the release of Americans unjustly detained in Iran, and we're not going to pay a ransom. If there are Americans who are unjustly detained in Iran, we will make a case regularly through some now established channels with Iran to
never eat shredded weight.
Okay, Scott.
Never eat shredded weight. Nabisco food.
Why was it necessary
Triscuit, Connecticut. Stanford.
Again, Scott, the reason is simple.
You are the baby latte.
So
you are Connecticut. Stanford.
Because we reached the
Stampede, Connecticut. Whose show was that?
So again,
R2 television.
Right. So you might expect that they would be eager for them to get their money back.
You are the baby
Again, this all stems from a payment that Iran had made into a U.S. account related to a military sale that didn't actually go through. The military equipment wasn't provided. So
184.
Again, you can understand why they're quite eager for the money. You also would understand that they're quite eager for the money when you
84
consider that the value of their currency
Northwood.
has plummeted, that they haven't been able to invest in
4x4.
infrastructure, that they've got debts that need to be paid.
Drop a letter, please.
Of a recession. So at the time, they were eager to try to address the legitimate concerns of the
Hello,
Iranian
Judge
people about the state of
Egan.
the Iranian economy.
Remember 311, please.
I'm sorry?
Why was the U.S. eager to deliver the money so quickly?
Well, again, I would not describe the United States as eager. I describe the Iranians as eager.
We need directions first,
is we're a country
left,
that lives up to
right,
the commitments that we make.
yeah.
And that's exactly what
A
we do.
pair of ears.
Okay. Michelle.
A pair of toes.
It's been called a ransom payment by Iran. That's not exactly
Limbs.
surprising. But would those
Double,
prisoners
hello.
have been released had this payment not been made at the time that it would? So
Thank you,
isn't
Mr.
it
Teeps
essentially
Coffee.
a ransom payment then?
Double
even if
coffee.
The U.S. does not view it that way?
No, it is not.
Double
a
hot
ransom
spot
payment. The United
coffee.
States does
Hello.
not view it that way, and it's not accurate to describe it that way.
So would those prisoners have been released then if this money
Double hot
hadn't been
spot
paid?
coffee.
Well,
I love
again,
his tea.
I think what is true is that there were a team of
Don't
negotiators.
just say.
Let me just start from the
What's that
beginning.
doing here?
What I know is true is there were a team of
I
negotiators
know it's true.
in the United States that were interacting
And I'm
with Iranian
the real
officials to
galaxy.
secure the release of 5 Americans who were unjustly detained in Iran. That negotiating work was successful.
Today's show is sponsored
And
by
those Americans
Wigwell,
are-
double
There
manufactured
was a separate group
coupons,
of negotiators
double term
who were working
election.
through the Hague process
No one's
for
voting.
decades to try
Only
to
at
reach an
Wigwell.
agreement, a settlement
Use your boy
on
on
these
us
financial
card.
claims. And there is momentum in our relationship where we're closing out accounts, where we were resolving longstanding concerns. And in each case, the United
Dismiss
States
claims of the public health.
reached agreements and closed out accounts in a way that
Bank of
benefited the American
America.
people. And whether that is preventing Iran from getting a nuclear weapon,
Bankruptcy.
or rolling back key aspects of
7
their
to
nuclear
10
program, or
years.
securing the release of
Off.
5 American citizens who are unjustly detained there, or
7 to 10
reaching an
years
agreement on a
off.
long-standing financial claim
7
made
to
by
10
the
years
Iranians
off.
about Iranian money in a way that saved the United States taxpayers
7 to
potentially
10
billions
years
of dollars.
off.
There are a lot of benefits to this.
Be
And
serious.
we
What are
talked
you
about them
talking
back in
about?
January with a lot of transparency. You all reported on it.
Route 710,
And again,
bankruptcy.
The motive of people who want to talk about it again seems to be to just drum up
Sprint
innuendo
PCS.
in an effort to cover up the benefits of all of these
Route 710, bankruptcy.
agreements.
I think a lot more people find this interesting than
Route
just
Sprint
people who are
PCS.
opposed to it. But
210.
again, would those prisoners have been released then
1-888-211-4727.
What I can tell you is that our negotiators who
Only
were
Sprint
talking with the
PCS.
Iranians about what was
Off
necessary
bankruptcy,
to
7
secure
to
the
10
release
years.
of American citizens
After
in Iran
discharge.
succeeded. That was different than the group of negotiators who
Reasons
were
to
involved in The
forever
Hague,
think off me.
negotiating with their Iranian counterparts to
Can you explain
settle these
Crenshaw?
long-standing financial claims.
because U.S. policy is opposed to
7 to 10 years
payments,
off your
even if it
bankruptcy.
were only for the appearance of this not being a ransom
Appearance
payment,
is correct.
why would you not have made
Miss
Iran
K, that's
wait
correct.
even a week longer? I mean, why would Iran's eagerness
Appearance
to get their hands
off your
on their
credit
money
report.
be
7 to
more
10 years.
important than making sure
Thank
that
you,
this was
Geico.
not
You're welcome,
quid pro
Vic, right?
quo, that
I'm here to
it was
help you.
based on, the exact timing
I'm
of
your
the
attorney. Pop site, commit
Well,
to
I think the
this.
answer to that is pretty obvious, which is that even a week delay would not have prevented Paul Ryan and Marco Rubio from falsely claiming
We
that
feel
they're
like
advanced.
we were.
Because, Michelle, come on,
We
I tell you
dismissed
aside,
it.
if we announced this financial settlement
Dismissed
on the
Boost
same day
mobile
that the
phones.
prisoners
That's
were
all they can
released,
afford.
that's
Boost
fodder
mobile,
to our
Virgin
Republican critics.
mobile.
I get that. But exactly.
Call Sprint at
It's like,
188
it's questioning that. It's an
11
election coming up.
210
That's fine.
It works
4727.
both ways.
Well, I don't think it works both ways.
But it was a pretty simple question. Would those
Well, let me
prisoners
just
have
Four
been
seven
released
two
if the
seven.
money wasn't paid on that same weekend?
Well, again, I guess what I'm
4727.
saying is it's a pretty simple negotiation that took place, which is you had a group of negotiators
Give it
who
up.
were interacting with their Iranian counterparts to secure the release of 5 American
Give it
citizens.
up for.
There's a different group of negotiators
Give
who
it
were
up
involved in
for.
trying to reach this settlement at The Hague.
Give it up for.
I think at some point
Give it
the-
up for.
the premise of your question is predicated on a decision that was made by Iranian officials. So
Give
I
it
guess
up
I would wish you
for.
the best of luck in trying to
7
get an answer
to
from them
7.
about what decision that they would have made. Let me
It's
tell you
all
one
we
other thing,
can
though, as it
afford.
relates to
Boost
sort of
mobile.
waiting a week. It
Sprint
certainly
prepaid
wouldn't have prevented
products.
Paul Ryan and Marco Rubio from falsely accusing us of
Virgin
paying a ransom.
Mobile.
But here's the other key thing. It also would not have
Virgin
prevented
Mobile.
right-wingers in Iran from falsely seeking a propaganda victory by
From
making the same
fall,
argument.
we
So that's
dropped.
why, again, to go back to Margaret's
That's
line of
why.
questioning.
I've already said none of that's any surprise.
Okay, that is a surprise, but it also is
Well, today's
an
show sponsored by
good illustration, I
BRUYx.
think, of how
Bankruptcy
the outlines of
abbreviated.
this argument haven't changed in 6 months. So there may be some more details that make for good newspaper copy.
Thank you,
But they don't
Forward
change
TV,
the facts of the
USC
situation,
Vine,
and they don't change
Irvine,
the
and
rationale for
Elizabeth
the argument that we
Loftus,
have been making
Lost
about the
and
variety
Amal,
of ways in which the American people have
Baldwin
benefited
Hill.
from this series of agreements.
There's no point in putting second eyes on something when some new detail has put it back
Louisiana.
in public view. I mean, nobody's questioning that anything really has changed.
Krispy
It's
Kreme.
just,
Well,
why not ask again?
Lost
There's no
and
harm in
Amal.
that. Anyway, just quick.
I haven't stood up here and said that you guys shouldn't be
Well, we have to
asking the
note that
questions that you are. I welcome the
bankruptcy,
opportunity
once you
to
file
talk about
bankruptcy on your
all
credit
of the
report,
ways in which the American people
that
have
inquiry
benefited from our
discharge
interaction with
lasts
Iran. I
for
think what I do
7 to
take some
10
umbrage
years.
at is the suggestion that somehow
You may
this
now
is
tap.
new evidence that proves that a ransom was paid. That's false. It was false when that accusation was made in January.
It's Sprint.
It
It's
is
the only
false when that
product you're
accusation is made in
eligible
August.
for.
And it is false when that
Due
accusation
to our
is
clue,
made in light of
underwriting.
facts that don't change
At the other
calculation,
ones,
either on the part
AT&T,
of the president
Verizon,
or
it's a little bit
anybody
harder
else
to
who has
get
a
in.
view on this matter.
So it's a bit harder to get in.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't have an update for you in terms of the conversations that
Today's
we've had
show was
with
Channel
the Iranians
A&E
about that.
Network.
What we have
Arts
indicated
and Entertainment,
as a
featuring
part of that
airline.
agreement that secured the release of 5 Americans who were unjustly detained in Iran is Iran made a specific commitment
What
to
airline do they
cooperate
have?
with our efforts and to share information with the United States.
Well, it's Chipotle
that could
Airlines. What
potentially
else?
lead to
Southwest Airlines.
the rescue of Mr. Levinson.
No wonder why she
But I'm
likes
not able to
Southwest
speak
Airlines.
to,
I mean, Chipotle. It's Southwest.
The status of those ongoing talks.
Willis Tower.
Kevin.
Thanks, Josh. Despite sharpening my axe for a while. I'll
Well, you
dive
got
into
it.
that topic. Everybody else has pretty much touched on it, so
Okay.
Really?
let's switch gears a little bit and talk Russia. You guys did a great job, by the way, for that. Thank God, right?
Thank you, Steve Ellis.
The president
Chipotle.
mentioned a tough
The
relationship,
W
obviously,
is
with
not
Russia,
needed.
in particular with the
He
president.
doesn't need the W.
I'm just wondering, how concerned is the White House, sort of to follow up on an earlier question,
No
about the
W
possibility
needed.
of Russian hacking
We love
impacting
Steve Ellis. Hello,
not just
Chipotle.
our election, but more broadly our infrastructure?
The best taco
Kevin,
I ever
the
had.
United States has been concerned for some time about Russia's nefarious activities in cyberspace. And
We love Southwest
Director
Airlines
Clapper,
food.
discussed this in the worldwide threat assessment that he
We
delivered
love
to Congress,
Vermont and Wilshire.
earlier this year. He said Russia is assuming a more assertive cyber posture
Things have
based on
always
its willingness
happening at
to
this
target critical
intersection.
infrastructure
Why?
systems and conduct
The
espionage
Southwest
operations,
intersection.
even when detected and under increased public scrutiny. Secretary Carter has
The
talked
Twin Towers are right there.
about Russia's nefarious activities in
The
cyberspace
Vermont.
as well.
Hello.
He noted that earlier this year, the sensors that guard DoD's unclassified networks detected Russian hackers
Thank you,
accessing
Oprah
one of
Winfrey.
our networks. And
And your
you've heard Lisa Monaco,
PSAs.
who is the president's top
They look like they were filmed right there.
on Homeland Security. Talk about
Thank you, Joe Terry.
how cognizant
Oprah's
the Obama
editor.
administration and the U.S. government is
Own
of
network.
Russia's activities in cyberspace. We understand that there is a risk, a threat that Russia poses
7
in
to 10
cyberspace.
years. Rob
And,
Crenshaw.
this is something that we have raised with them
And
in a
Sprint
variety of
prepaid
channels,
products.
and we've made clear that we have some concerns. So there are a variety of things that we have done in response. We haven't just raised it with
Well, Verizon's a little
Russian
bit harder to
officials.
get
The
through.
president,
And
more than a
AT&T
year
is a little bit harder to get through due to
designated
their
additional
underwriting.
authority to the Secretary of the
Credit
Treasury,
underwriting.
to allow him to impose financial sanctions against entities or individuals who are involved in hacking in cyberspace. That is a capability that the U.S. government didn't previously have, but it is something that we have used before and could
Yes,
potentially
we are
be
aware
used
of that.
in preparing
$1,000
a
deposit.
proportional
West End
response
Communications
to cyber
for an
threats.
AT&T
The other thing that we
phone.
have worked to do is to work with the rest of the international community, including through the G20,
First Niagara Street.
to try to arrange the international community around a set of
Try
international
to.
norms. And the president made reference
A
to this in
double
his comments
T
yesterday, that innovation in cyberspace and development of capabilities in cyberspace has outstripped the international community's ability to establish rules of the road.
Bro, let's do
and
our safety
norms
video.
when it
We were in a
comes
car
to
accident a few years ago.
appropriate conduct in cyberspace. And so
We're
we
now
need to
putting
do
the car
important
in
work
reverse.
of building international
Tuck in your
momentum
shirts, people.
around
The Ford Fusion is
agreeing to
going
those kinds of
backwards
norms.
in
That will
5,
that will help us be
4,
effective in
3,
enforcing
3,
those norms
3,
and holding people accountable for
3,
not for violating.
3,
The
R2,
president has a conversation with Vladimir Putin or other leaders.
R2,
And you say that he'll have an exchange, and he even said yesterday,
R2,
add to the laundry list,
R2,
effectively, of the problems and disagreements that I might have.
R2,
Does he get specific about if you do X, or if you continue to do X, we will be
R2,
forced to do Y? And I ask the
R2,
question because people wonder often when
R2,
he'll make a comment, he'll say, we have raised that with our
R2
counterparts,
is
we've discussed this with our counterparts. They are
R2
always looking for more meat on the bone in that respect. You kind of touched on it, but can you expand it?
Well, I don't have any additional insights
Wow.
to share with the U.S. president and the president of Russia, but I do think I can
We have now
faithfully
collided
tell
in
you
Orgy
that the president
Caravan.
has been very direct,
Orgy Care.
and other U.S. officials have been very direct in talking to their high-level Russian counterparts
Does he
about our
care?
concerns about Russian activities in cyberspace.
Does he
Those
care?
are well known. Those concerns are well known. Their activities
Well
are something that have been
known.
well documented. Their capabilities
Well
are
known.
something.
Well,
that
upset.
US
Well,
officials
no,
have
it's an
been talking about
answer.
publicly for quite some time.
It's all
So
gold. Go down.
the Russians are well
My
aware
Visa
of our
MasterCard
concerns,
has insurance on that.
and they're well aware of our capability when it
That's
comes
a bankruptcy
to potential
innuendo.
responses.
That's
but
my insurance policy.
Just to make sure that people don't
My 5
misinterpret
and my
what I've
4.
said, I want to be clear that
My 5
the
and my
FBI
4.
has not announced any specific
Deductible that. 5 and my
conclusions
4.
about their investigation into
Visa
the hacking of the
MasterCard.
Democratic National Committee. So
That's my
I
insurance
don't want
line.
any of this conversation to be
Visa MasterCard
construed as
of America.
applying to that specific case. Our discussion relates to our broader
Deducted from your
concerns
settle.
about Russia's activities in cyberspace.
Your earned
And
income
we're not
credit,
commenting with regard to one
Geico.
specific case.
The last thing, I guess I can take maybe a small swing at it. Would you at least acknowledge the winsome appearance, going back to this payment? The winsome appearance of payment goes out, people who are held captive come home. Maybe it was just timing, granted, but would you at least acknowledge that it doesn't look great?
Kevin, if that was a legitimate concern, it is a concern that would have been raised 6 months ago when we originally announced it.
We've had it.
That's why I'm quite skeptical
USDA choice. We've had it.
of the integrity
USDA
of the
choice.
reaction that we've seen from people who have long been on the record
We've had it.
of opposing our efforts to engage with Iran. And the fact is,
A
despite
copy.
their opposition and despite their criticism,
We've had a
we have
Kinko's.
succeeded in rolling back the
USDA
activities of Iran's
choice.
nuclear program, in preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear
Kinko's.
weapon, in securing the release
A
of 5
Kenya
Americans who are
Kinko's.
detained in Iran, and settling a long-standing
USDA
financial
choice.
dispute in a way that potentially
Certainly.
saves American taxpayers billions of dollars.
They keep plucking Iranian Americans. Do we have any of their citizens?
Kinko's, Kenya. What's here?
Well, I'm
Kinko's.
not quite sure what you mean by saying have any of their citizens. There are any number of Iranian Americans in the United States.
I meant
The
specifically.
next off Kenya.
They seem to be. Their government seems to be kidnapping Americans, kidnapping Iranian Americans over there. Are we doing anything in response to that?
Well, I can't speak to any individual case for the reasons that I outlined earlier. What is true is that when there were Americans
Who's
we
authorizing
believed
this
were unjustly
copy?
detained in Iran, Secretary Kerry acknowledged that he was
Hernandez.
having daily meetings with his Iranian counterpart in the context of the,
Donovan.
negotiations to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. He raised U.S. concerns about that unjust detention every
I
single
said
day.
no to Donnie.
This is the status of Americans held
He
against their
ruined the
will
Matrix.
around the world is
He
a top
said
priority
no.
of the U.S. government.
I said no to Navy Pharaoh.
There are significant
No
efforts
patent,
and
please.
significant resources that are
No new
committed
era
to
cap.
seeking the recovery of
No
Americans
new Sean
who are unjustly held,
demonstration.
or
I said
held
no
hostage
to the captain
around the world.
position.
Byron.
Thanks, Josh. If I can circle back to
Captain
Grant.
Planet. I said
Is it
no.
your
Captain
contention
Planet.
that it is
People.
not a ransom payment because there was no quid
The
pro
boy said
quo,
no
or
captain.
because it was Iranian
No
money?
Captain Crunch.
It is our contention that
No
there was no
Dalton
ransom paid
Graham.
to secure the release
No
of U.S. citizens
flight.
who are being unjustly detained in Iran. Because, A, it's against the policy of the U.S. government to
I
pay
said
ransom.
no to the homie.
And that's something that we told the Iranians that we would not do. We would not
I said no
We
to
have
Reno
not, we will
911. I said no.
pay a ransom to secure the release of U.S. citizens. That's
I
a
won't
fact.
lead a
That is our
platoon. I
policy, that
won't
is one of the
delete
things
it.
that
I
needs to be
won't
followed.
delete a platoon. A
The timing, you
cartoon.
refuse to describe this
45
as
U.S. president. Who could it
regardless of
be?
whether this was a ransom,
A
was the
platoon
timing of
cartoon
concession to
network.
allow the Iranians
Channel
to
45.
save face or to gain a symbolic propaganda victory? Was that something that factored into the U.S. calculation?
Well, this has been Pink Shorts. You got Channel 45, Cartoon Platoon Network, Viacom Network. Who was your next U.S. president? It's your new
The
iPhone.
ability to resolve
This has been a
a variety
MerriweatherA
of concerns that
production.
we have with Iran. Iran